So if you watch the first videos in this series, you'll have seen us go on the path from starting as Duke of Epirus and becoming the Kingdom of Epirus. And so territorially we've expanded and done well. But this is what's great about Crusader Kings 3. It is a dynasty simulator, it's not a territory simulator. For all of this is for nothing if we can't have a strong inheritance and a strong line take over. And right now that's a real problem for us, because our player heir and son is a leper, which is he's not looking healthy. Our second son, who's not great in terms of skills and everything either, is sterile. And after that we're down to daughters. Now actually our daughters aren't bad, but Princess Barbara's been popping out daughters herself. So we're still kind of in the territory where we could have another kid. No, we don't need to entirely worry yet. Our wife is young enough to still have kids, and she's lustful, which gives her a fertility boost. But you have to start planning for these things and what we might need to do instead. And we're 50 years old, we're in poor health, and we've become melancholic, presumably at the state of our inheritance. So we're not going to live forever. We are already in poor health. So we need to start thinking about what are the other options that we might need to get another kid that would be useful. And they are limited, but we do have some. And so one of the things I've done is I've flipped us, when we had the chance to do it, to the intrigue lifestyle focus. Because on that you find there is something called the temptation focus. This boosts our fertility, which is really, really useful because it increases our chance of having a baby with our wife. But it also allows us to increase the power in something called our seduce scheme. And schemes are things that we are able to do in the same way as we could do positive ones to sway people. We can do seductive, sexy ones as well. And I've also taken the first perk in this already, so that's seduce scheme power plus 50%. So that means that what we're now looking for is, we go back to our kind of character browser here, and I've been hunting around a bit for people that might be useful for us to seduce. Now annoyingly, when we hunt around a bit, the pickings are a bit slim, because if we're going to get a lover, we kind of want them to have decent traits. And if we look for people with decent traits, there's not a lot out there, to be honest, that are up for some sexy times. Because we need them to be unmarried as well. Because we need to be able to bring them to our court so they'll have our baby in our court, and then we've got options. But let's have a look at kind of, so do we have anyone who's intelligent? Now we want this inheritable traits ideally. They're not that young, and that's not useful to us. You know, we look for people who are lustful. Are there anyone on this list who are relatively young and have traits that's inheritable? Not hugely. Let's have a look and see. So these things go in ranks. So the one down from beautiful is comely. So let's have a look at someone who's comely. Okay, well maybe we've got options here. So what we're going to do is we potentially got Barbara of Potamacustal here. So we're going to pin this character. We're going to look at our options on this list. Let's go with, not sure about the craven traits. I suspect, let's have a look at Kamala. And let's have a look at, there's a bit of variety. She's chaste, so we don't want her. Let's have a look at Zarista. And then beyond that, we'll just have a quick look and see if there's anyone quick, because that would be another one we could get. Okay, let's pin her. So now we've pinned them, they appear on this list up here. And what that means is we can now click on them. Barbara, are you interested in some extramarital sex times? Potentially, 70% chance. Let's give that a go. Now remember, we can only do one of these schemes at a time. So we're just going to let that run. And while that scheme is ongoing, I'm going to talk you through some of the other things that we're doing in the meantime. So, I talked a while before about how to manage your kingdom. So we've actually got a reasonable kingdom here. So how do you set a kingdom up so that it does well? And one of the things you want to be thinking about is what buildings you build in the territories you control. So realistically, our heir, however good they are, is probably not going to be able to control 7 holdings. 6 is probably the maximum they're going to do. So chances are we will need to give some of this territory that we control directly away. Now, to maximize the benefits, what I always suggest you do with when you're a king rank is you want to keep hold of 3 duchies. You want to keep hold of at least 2, but ideally 3. There is a mild penalty for 3, but that's fine. In the meantime, what you then want to do in terms of your duchies is you want to maximize your buildings. And what I mean by that is, if you remember from the videos, when we were starting to build buildings in our primary duchy, so this is the duchy that is our main one related to our title, where our capital is, which is Arta, we've been optimizing this mostly around levies. It is the thing that is giving our troops. We know we're probably going to keep hold at least of one of these, because they've got 4 spots. So let's look around for the ones that are probably in a decent territory. It'd be Buthram, but I think that's technically in Kefalonia. So let's keep a hold of Ionana. We're going to build another building here, and we're going to again focus it on levies. This duchy we are going to mostly focus on building levy buildings to increase our numbers. And the reason we're going to do that is, as the game develops, we're going to be able to build something in our duchy slot here, which will be a special building that will have a special effect. And if you look at some of the buildings you can build here, you'll see that, for example, Royal Armories boost levy sizes by 20%. So all holdings in this duchy. So if we have focused this duchy on levies, we're going to get more benefit out of having that special building. In the same way, we're going to focus Dyrrachian here on economy buildings, because we can build some farm fields, and you can kind of look at the territory in your things to see what's going to go well and focus on that kind of stuff. But we're going to build economy buildings here, because this is the second duchy that we're going to try and keep hold of. And again, that means that when we unlock it, we will be able to turn around and build a building here called tax officers, which is going to boost monthly holdings. And by boosting that, it will boost everything there. So this is one of my tips for kind of managing your duchies. Always hold 2 and optimize one around levies and the other one around economy. Ideally, you want to focus your primary duchy around levies, because it's the one that you will always hold no matter what happens with the inheritance. And that means that if you lose it for some reason, now if your inheritance gets split, you will be the person who emerges with the most troops, if not the most money, which means you can quickly go to war to get the rest of your territory back. So generally focus your primary one on levies, but then pick another good one, pick one that's useful to keep hold of, and optimize it around something else. So the reason I'm not optimizing Kefalonia around money, and I'm saying we're going to keep hold definitely of this one, is because Kefalonia only has 2 provinces, whereas Dyrrachion has a whole bunch. So it's more useful for us to optimize Dyrrachion than it is optimize other things. So that's what we'll be quietly doing here, and hopefully at the same time we're going to pop out a kid at some point, and then when we get the kid popped out, I'll talk to you about how you massage your inheritance and how inheritance works if you need it to work.